Welcome, everyone. This is Robin from Western Mass. It is Sunday, June 5th, 2022, and we're about to go into our general Q&A section of our Sunday call. So take it away, expert.
Okay. Hi, honey. How are you doing today?
Don't call me honey when your mother's around.
you want to share with everybody the why we're laughing here?
Sure. So I was looking to trade in my car. I went with a friend of mine who loves cars. He's really good, and we went to this place. I found this car online. I was excited about. And the guy, we walked in, and all the guys at the place walked right by me to my friend, who was a guy. They handed him the keys to the car that we were going to test.
That you wanted to buy.
That I wanted to buy. I'm the buyer, right? And then the sales rep, he puts his arm around me and calls me honey. My friend stepped back like I was going to slug the guy. Luckily, I didn't hear the honey, but I did. They tried to sell me this car that had damage. That was just, I was furious. Anyway, we left, and they instantly lowered the price and put it back online for $1,000 less.
Well, that's great, honey.
But that's where the honey comes from.
Okay. Let's get serious. Maybe we should have done this in the stress management segment.
That's okay. Yeah, it is part of stress management.
Well, welcome, everybody. This is Richard Kuhns, author of How to Get Your Life Back from Those Miserable Morgellons, Chronic Lyme, and Other Skin Parasites. On this Sunday afternoon, June 6th, is it? 2022. Okay. The FDA requires me to inform everybody that before you start the King Diet, which I recommend if you want to get your life back, that's the crux of this program. Without it, I just have to tell you, go elsewhere, because I don't know how to help you. We don't know how to support you. So if you're not going to do the King Diet, or if it's no interest to you, hey, I hated diets. The idea of a diet just, turned me off. About control, it's worse than the Republicans wanting to control you. Control, terrible. Of course, they were normal back then. But anyway, the idea of diet, and when somebody suggested it to me, I was kind of like at the end of my rope. Tried everything, been to a dozen doctors, got nowhere. Been through I went through homeopathic stuff. It's all listed in the book, the stuff that I went through, and I'm sure all of you have gone through as much, if not more, than I did. So I figured, what the hell? Diet? Why not? And having operated a stress management facility for about 20 years, I knew a lot of people, particularly those dealing with anxiety issues, are often dealing with food allergy issues that contribute to a hypoglycemic reaction. And I knew how to do an elimination diet. I knew how to have my clients do an elimination diet to discover if it was orange juice that was kicking them off in the morning and setting them up for an anxiety attack an hour or two later, or coffee or something else. Okay, so I just said, okay, I'm going to do elimination diet in reverse and start with one food, and I don't know why, I just chose eggs. I could have chosen anything else that's on the diet, but I just chose eggs, and it's amazing how the symptoms subsided, how quickly, and it's like, amazing. But you can't just eat eggs. I mean, then I added butter to the eggs, which made it taste a little better. But you can't just eat eggs and butter the rest of your life. And so began my quest to discover the diet. It took about 2 years of journaling and writing down, and it's all described in Chapter 4. So before you start the diet or accept any of my recommendations, or my coaches, Robin, Ethel, Anna, Nick, anybody, you are to go to your doctor and ask your doctor if this diet or any of my recommendations or our recommendations will interfere with any health problems you're presently experiencing. That's your job to do that. The AMA and FDA also require us to tell you that we're not medical doctors. We're not trained in the medical science. So diagnosing, curing, treating, and mitigating diseases is the job of medical doctors, not us. We don't do that. We educate. We educate you how to use the King diet, how to clean these organisms out of your skin, which, by the way, the CDC and they all say doesn't exist. These organisms don't exist. They're not there. But anyway, we teach you, we educate you how to clean these imaginary organisms out of your skin and out of your body and out of your environment so that you can get your life back, along with the targeted supplements to build health and immune functioning. So this is our question and answer period. It's a working session for those people who have read the book and have started the diet. Robin is my co-host. She's been with me for over a year and a half, going on maybe 2 years. I don't know, a long time. Love you, Robin. It's fantastic to have you every Sunday here. I don't have all the answers. I've got probably more answers than anybody in the universe about these organisms, but I don't have them all. I'm learning. And the answers I don't have, Robin has. She fills in the gaps. Okay, so let's start with some of the questions right now.
We're trying to make the diet work, and we have a question, and it's about using fresh ginger. Are we allowed to use fresh ginger in stage 1?
No.
Okay.
Stage 1, the only ginger you can have is the powdered ginger. There's a difference.
Powdered ginger.
The powdered ginger. There's a difference somehow between the ginger root, fresh ginger, and the powdered ginger. The fresh ginger is going to some reason, feed the organisms. Now, by the way, for anybody trying to figure out why and how this diet works, I don't know. It's a trial by error. And the idea, if you read chapter 4, is to keep a diary to see what works. Your sensitivities may be different than mine, but the diet is probably 99% spot on for everybody. So, so that's the answer. What's the next question?
It looks as if we're going to have to make the diet work by eliminating, trying, and so on. If we eliminate something, one part of our diet, how long should we wait before we know that is responsible or not responsible? Would it be 1 day, 2 days?
Very good question. Very good question. Now, in the very beginning, when you're starting to diet, generally, if you have something, say for instance, you have that fresh ginger, you're going to notice within 20 minutes. Within 20 minutes, you're going to see activity. Within 20 minutes. It's that fast.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, I see. That makes it more straightforward then, a lot easier.
But hold your horses, okay? When the diet is kicking in, you're going to be basically symptom-free, and you could be symptom-free for days, maybe weeks, and then you have that ginger. It's not going to affect you in 20 minutes. It could take a couple of days or 3 days before you see a reaction. There's a delayed response. So the better you get, then the more you can eat something that you shouldn't have, but it's going to take longer for you to feel it.
You don't need to, quote, eliminate things. You need to get the diet right. So if you're eating things that are not on stage 1 of the diet, the issue is not eliminating them. The issue is eating only what's on the diet. The issue is following the diet as strictly as you can, and then when you are symptom-free, adding stage 2 foods one at a time. But if you are eating what's on the diet, you're not going to have to eliminate things. You need to read the book. People have told me the diet is confusing, so you read it over and over until it's not confusing, because it's all laid out in that chapter in the book.
Right.
That's what we are doing. We've gone over it with almost everything we're interrogating, and we're going back reading it and just making sure, because I'm one who feels it's the most. So if I have an eruption, I just want to know exactly if I have eaten something I shouldn't be eating. But we don't buy anything that's not in the book.
No.
So we've stayed within the book, and we are also vegan, and so we don't stray very much to many things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
we have to watch what we're doing, that at the moment there hasn't been much effect or any effect, has there?
I have moments of where I feel like things are a bit quiet, and then other moments are really, really kind of challenging. So it's early days yet, because we've only been doing it for 2 weeks.
It's also your environment and your clothes, and
Yes.
diet's going to help tremendously, but you still have to deal with your environment, you have to deal with your laundry, and you have to get it all right, and it takes time. It could take a few weeks.
Yeah, it isn't really laid out real quick. I mean, say, the analogy that I use, it's like driving an automobile with not one clutch, but 4 clutches. Okay, so it's important to do basically 4 things simultaneously. So make the diet work, clean your skin, bathing. You know, the best thing that we know is our nature's gift, along with some disinfectants in the bathtub up to 3 times a day for 45 minutes, and cleaning the environment. So, and figuring out whether your environment is reinfecting you or whether the environment is clear. It took me 3 months once to get my couch clear, and that's because I even took the footrest off and soaked it in a bathtub with nature's gift, and it still didn't work. And then when I got the electrostatic sprayer, I suddenly realized that at the ends of the footrest, the fabric is tufted, and that's where they were. I wasn't able to clean that, but the electrostatic sprayer did and got in there and destroyed them. So it's a matter of putting the puzzle together and not giving up, but going at it. So the diet, hey, you can do what I did. Start with only one thing, and then add one thing after another thing that's on the diet list. As I said before, it's spot on for about 95, 99% of the people, but some people can't have, I mean, a big mistake many people have is they have coffee. Coffee is great, but many brands of coffee are soaked in oil, which is not on the diet. So you've got to be careful.
Okay.
Thank you.
I remember.
Thank you very much.
I remember the diet is so powerful and so effective that I was symptom-free for 3 months. And then we had our Christmas party. And I love chocolate cake. And I said, I'm going to eat chocolate cake. So I ate 1 piece and I felt fine. I took it home. And the next day I ate another piece and I felt fine. And next day I ate another piece. And 6 days after the first piece, all hell broke loose. So you can be on the diet, cured, but if you go off of it, within 7 days, it can wreck you again. Now, making the diet work, we have discovered as we come along certain things that you can do to help make the diet work. One of them is boosting glutathione. So I normally would take 2 capsules of Max 1 a day. And one day I was at work and I had gotten reinfected and I was doing everything I could possibly do, and I was thinking, and we all go through this, why in the hell isn't it working this time? I'm doing everything. I'm spot on the diet. I'm perfect. I'm disinfecting. Why isn't it working? And in front of me was a bottle of Max 1. I don't know why I had it there, and for no reason whatsoever, I took one capsule, kicked in, back quick.
Yeah.
Kicked in. Then, and there's medications listed in Chapter 6. Now, these medications have been reported to me and also recommended to me by a dermatologist. ORAP, for instance, Primazod, my dermatologist, an old-timer, had shared with me that there was a 4-H tent at one of the county fairs that was infested with some kind of mite, and everybody went in there, got infested with this mite. Okay, and they used Primazod to help clear everybody, so he recommended that to me, and it helped me. It helped kick in the diet for me. And so from then on, people have been sharing a list of different medications, Seroquel, Abilify, Wellbutrin. There's about 10 of them listed in Chapter 11. And they have been reported to also help make the diet work. And years later, we figured out all these medications basically help reduce dopamine uptake in the brain. And then someone like yourself wrote in to me and said her name was Olga. I don't know if she's still in the program or what happened, but she said, you know, there are herbs that do that. And it turns out that one of my associates in this program is an herbalist, I guess, I don't know. And I gave her the challenge of finding the herbs. And she put together our Parasite Stop formula, which also replaces all those medications in terms of reducing dopamine uptake in the brain. So that is another thing that helps make it kick in. And you start out with one capsule a day. They're big. You go up to 3, 4, 5, whatever's necessary. And once the diet kicks in, you back down. And you back down to maybe one a day and then a half a day or whatever. I don't know how we'll have to come up with smaller capsules. But so there are different things that you can do to make the diet kick in. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much indeed for your answer. Thank you.
You're welcome. Keep coming back.
Hi.
Hi.
I have been, for 3 years, I went and had to stay in the hospital for a while. And I came out with these little bumps on my butt and on my belly. And then it has now, for the last 2 years, been all over me. At first I thought it was scabies or something like that. And ringworm. I have taken I've done everything I can. Everything. I haven't tried your diet yet because I just found you. But it feels like they're like little tiny worms, but they're like in my, it's almost like they're in my blood. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, the first thing I'd recommend you do, is it Evelyn?
Yes, it is. Okay.
You're on our mailing list. You got the email that announced this program?
Yes, I did.
Great. Return an email, any one of them, it'll come back to me, and request a questionnaire. And I'll send you a questionnaire. You complete it, and I'll give you an analysis, an education as to what you are dealing with in terms of what references you can go to verify that. I'm not going to diagnose you. I'm only going to educate you based on the other references out there as to what you most likely are dealing with, along with a detailed protocol. So definitely we would start with the diet, working with the diet. If for some reason it seems that mites, strongyloides, Columbella, Morgellons, all of these parasites seem to respond to the diet. Years ago, I didn't know about mites. So, you know, for me, I only dealt with Columbella initially. And then, you know, with hundreds of thousands of people using the diet, we find it's important for, and even Lyme disease. it's a Lyme diet as well. So the diet seems to work with any kind of organism that doesn't belong in your body that is affecting your skin. So I will give you a complete protocol, the diet, and all the supplements and the bathing and everything that would be important for you to do. Okay?
Oh, love you. Thank you so much for this.
I'll skip over most of it other than to say I've tried everything you nailed on the call with the English couple, up to and including being a Republican Trumpophile, so you guys can chew on that for a little bit. That was my attempt at a joke. But here I am stuck with basically in the same spot. I've been on the diet now for the third time. This time I'm right at 3 months. It was 9 months and 3 months on the other one. On the same diet, but on the other 2 tries with no effect. Still no effect, but my question is, how long can I keep brushing my teeth without fluoride, do you think? I'm not going to hold you to it or anything like that.
Brushing your teeth?
Without my teeth falling out.
Brushing your teeth with what?
Without chloride.
I'm using baking soda.
Okay, that's good. That's a good point. The baking soda is important. From our talk before the program started, before 4 o'clock, you were talking about primarily using ammonia. I suggest upping your game and talking to Robin about the different things that you can do. I mentioned many of the things that we have in the store, the benefit.
Yep.
I mean, ammonia didn't do it for me.
Right, well, hang on a second. The question is, I can't stay off fluoride toothpaste for life. If my dentist knew about it, she would blow a head pipe. How long? It's been 3 months now since I've used fluoride. How long would you guess I can keep on just baking soda? There's no dental professional in the world that's going to say, give up fluoride, man, you're good.
Well,
That's not true.
The problem
you
is...
think?
No, okay. We did there's a blog post about fluoride, and if you email me, I can look it up for you and give it to you. The problem with fluoride is it's very controversial. Doctors will say, dentists will say that you need fluoride to prevent cavities. Okay, but that's not necessarily true. In fact, fluoride was brought on into this scheme back in the 40s or 50s, very early. I mean, you got to think to the technology of that era. That's what they were capable of at that time, and it has been frozen in space. The reality is, fluoride is a chemical waste product. It's a chemical waste product, and they found a use for it in helping prevent dental cavities, okay? Now, the problem, the more recent research says that fluoride in your system is sort of like an attractor of aluminum into your brain. So the fluoride does more to contribute to Alzheimer's and dementia than it really does for cavities. Now, our dental mouthwash came about from, I just had some oral surgery, and I gave my dentist 3 samples of our dental mouthwash and our dental toothpaste. And we had a discussion about fluoride. It turns out that theoretically, and most likely practically, our nature's gift does what fluoride also does. It replaces the need for fluoride. So our nature's gift toothpaste is based on baking soda, but it's got nature's gift. It's got peppermint in it, and I believe cinnamon and eggshells to help with your enamel, to help replenish enamel. So I would suggest going to that, but definitely staying away from any kind of fluoride. It's controversial. That's my opinion. That's what.
A lot of places, there's fluoride in your water, and that is probably more than enough that your teeth need. But if the diet's not working and you're trying to work this program and you're not seeing any changes, then I really, really recommend calling one of the coaches, the free coaches, and getting some in-depth personal coaching to tweak whatever you need so that you can get your life back. But honestly, there's so many good toothpastes out there without fluoride that work. Tom's. I mean, there's just a lot of other choices besides fluoride toothpaste
I'll just get the stuff from the store. But
yeah, well, I'm just saying you can get non-fluoride toothpaste from stores also.
Okay.
Or you can buy stuff. So you just got to read labels, just like with anything else, and they will work very effectively. And you can even add the baking soda to them. So I'm just saying, if you
So you think it's open-ended, both of you? And I'm not holding you to this.
I don't think that baking soda. I think that baking soda is really healthy, and I know that there are dentists that support it, and I don't think it's going to cause you to get cavities or have your teeth decay.
Right. So open-ended, without fluoride toothpaste, you think it's good to go?
I do.
Just as a general thing. Okay, cool. All right. The next question
I'd like to share my experience with you on this because I do have some experience with fluoride. You have to realize I have a couple genetic disorders and one of them affects teeth. So I'm really sensitive to a lot of things. And when I was younger, my family moved from a big city where we had fluoridated water to the country where we were on well water. And I had never had a cavity before. And within 6 months, I got 5 baby cavities. And then it stopped. And I got no more cavities after that. And the dentist said that it was my body adjusting to living without fluoride. So, everybody's different, but I went through that one rough point and then my teeth were fine. So living without fluoride, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And also, for those of you guys out there that are super sensitive to things, I used to use Tom's toothpaste too, Robin, and I loved it. But I'm sensitive to carrageenan, and that's in the toothpaste, which broke my heart. So I can't use that toothpaste anymore. Right. But I use baking soda, and my dentist recommended to periodically do some peroxide, just swish it around and hold it in your mouth for a minute or two to kill the bacteria. And I do that because I'm allergic to mint and I can't use
peppermint.
The mint mouthwash that you have, Richard. So your body.
Those are great. That's great advice, Mary.
We have been ingrained and told for years and years and years that fluoride is good for us. And just like we've been told for years and years and years that acetaminophen was good and healthy for us, and it's found in Tylenol. And I don't know if you've been watching television lately, but they've been linking Tylenol with autism, which I've been saying for years and years. Acetaminophen destroys glutathione, and one of the best things you can do if your child is autistic is to boost glutathione levels. So, I mean, things that we've been told, like we've been told that bacon grease is no good for us for years and years and years, and that's all reversed now. in terms of health anyway. So fluoride is out as far as I'm concerned.
All right, cool.
You can come to your own conclusions. I recommend.
I just did. No fluoride.
Our toothpaste is the best in the world, but baking soda is fine. And using peroxide to absolutely. I mean, baking soda is going to kill any germ. You can take a container of baking soda, what is it, 50 cents in the dollar store, maybe it's 60 cents in the dollar store, and you can disinfect your laundry. You just put the whole thing in your laundry. It's a disinfectant. Baking soda is a disinfectant.
Has anybody tried that cedar fogger? I'm at my wit's end here, man. I don't have.
It's a waste of money and time. It is a
Gotcha.
total waste of money and time.
Well, time is what I don't have. Those are two things I don't have.
For my information, the fogger and the cedar side runs you about maybe $600 to $800 or so. You're far better.
About $2,000.
Well, you're far better off with the electrostatic sprayer. Now, the difference between fogging, it's important to know, the difference between fogging and the electrostatic is that if you, for instance, have a fogger in front of a doorknob, it's not going to cover the back of the doorknob. The fog will be on the front, but it's not going to be on the back. When you spray with electrostatic sprayer, it kind of wraps around. It has an electronic charge. It's going to wrap around and cover the back of something. So it's going to go into crevices that fog won't go.
Robin, didn't you have some kind of new not disinfectant, what am I looking, insecticide or whatever you had the hops for?
Well, we have.
Yeah, but you should call me about that. That's more involved than texting. And Richard does have. Richard has two kinds of disinfectants that work really well in electrostatic sprayers because you don't want to use pesticide if you have an electrostatic sprayer. So
yeah, I don't have an electrostatic sprayer.
But
I just use that sprayer you pump by hand. Is that not as good as an electrostatic?
Well, the electrostatic sprayer sticks to things that you can't see, and it hits more areas than when you use a hand sprayer.
There's nothing equivalent to the electrostatic sprayer. Nothing. Nothing equivalent.
Okay.
Yeah, you're talking 900. What'd you say for the fogger and the cedar side? How much?
No, I think it's around 500.
No, if you get enough juice, my God, if you get enough juice to cover a house like mine, I got my dream house here. It's $2,000, and that ain't no problem. It's just we're either gonna do it or we ain't gonna do it.
It's not gonna work. Don't waste your money. I did.
The electrostatic sprayer is about $450 or so.
I'm looking for encouragement. I had to go to my mom's house. My son was there too, and I'd been staying away because of all this. And sure enough, I was reinfected horribly and kind of starting over, and it's so frustrating. And anyway, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to keep on trucking. I just need words of inspiration. And also, specifically, I know about Benefact and Zap and some of these alternatives for spraying, but I came into a bunch of multi-quat sanitizer. It's used in, like, restaurants to sanitize utensils and things. And I'm wondering if that would be, if you know anything about its effectiveness, because it's really cheap, and like I said, I have a bunch of it. Just any thoughts on that?
What is it that you have that they have in restaurants?
It's called multi-quat, like quaternary ammonia.
Oh, is that sort of like the Clorox cloths that they have, that stuff?
It's like a liquid form. The ones we have are tablets, and you dissolve them, and then you can.
Oh, okay.
Spray it around.
You can try them and let us know.
Your food utensils in there. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it, so who knows? It might work, it might not work. I don't know. Try it out.
Right.
See if it works.
Okay. All right. I'll try it out. Just wondering if anyone had heard.
So
yeah.
You can mix it up with water and spray it, or is it ready to use and spray?
Right. You can get it both ways.
Okay.
It both ways.
I'll try it out. See if it works.
So. All right, I'll try it out.
Because doesn't, like, if you even just spray water, I mean, it will knock them out of the air but not kill them. So, I mean, that's what I read somewhere. So I don't specifically about springtails.
What about, what?
I don't want to just knock them down and then they're all over my floor.
Oh, you got to kill them. I mean, and there are about 19 species that have an affinity towards man out of the 6,000 plus out there, and some of them are not so easy to kill.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them, you can put ammonia on them, and they're not going to die.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. I've been having, I felt like with the diet and ammonia, I had some really great symptom-free time, and like I said, it started again with my mom's, and I'm trying not to let it backslide too far. But the bummer is I have to go back this week, and it's so tempting to just get the efforts and go ahead and eat whatever I want and just give up for 2 more days because I have to go back. And I can't do that, though. Don't want to do that. So thank you guys for being there. I really appreciate it.
Keep coming back. We're here to support you, getting your life and to inspire you when we can.
Okay, thank you. You do. All right, thank you.
Okay, who's next, Chris?
Anna.
Okay, hi again. I'm dealing with cataract issues. I've had them for a few years, and of course, ultimately, I was going to have surgery, but with the pandemic, I've not done anything here. And I'm just wondering, have you ever heard of the springtails or these parasites, creating cataracts? Or many people, have them when they reach unfortunately, a certain age. And I just received my package yesterday of lufeneron and nitropyron. I'm just wondering, I know you can only educate and not prescribe, but I wanted your take on, cataracts. And again, I'm trying to not have the surgery as of now. I'm trying to treat this, naturally.
Stop. Let's go in little compartments here. I don't know of any association between parasites and contributing to cataracts. I do know that when people are dealing with parasites, as I have, is that sometimes the floaters in your eyes can get like the size of a Mack truck. I know that can happen, but and they can go away as well. So, but I don't know of any association between parasites and contributing to cataracts.
And if you don't treat cataracts, they don't go away and they get worse. You really need to follow your eye doctors. If you want to keep your sight, you need to do what the eye doctor says.
Right.
Really? So there's no, as far, because there are a lot of supplements out there that may, they're saying that it can help, but again, it would be contradictory to your diet, And
they won't
we can't comment. I have no knowledge of any supplements or anything. I'm not. That's out of my field. So you'll have to deal with that. All I can say is I recommend you going yearly to your eye doctor to get your pressure checked and everything else to make sure you don't get a glaucoma or some other disease of the eye. That iritis is another one that you really can't feel until it's too late.
Okay, so I really need to address that very soon. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I have along with all the other issues, the parasite issues, I have a white discharge out of my skin. Is that something that's related to it?
Probably biofilm, and that can very well be related to it. I mean, I can't claim it is. I can't say it is, but that's something that I would suspect is an issue. Biofilm shows up in a large percent of people who are dealing with Morgellons and Lyme disease. So, and that's something that we deal with all the time. We have supplements, in fact, that help with that. Of course, obviously, number one is make that diet work, make it kick in, do the diet, and then do the bathing. And if you don't have to buy anything from us, but we have the best products in the world. And if you do the bathing with a nature's gift, that will help remove the biofilm. You can use peroxide in your bath. You can use apple cider vinegar. In Chapter 3 is a whole list of different things. You can find out which disinfectant or mix of disinfectants work best for cleaning your skin. to get it out. And then as far as supplements go, we have a supplement called kinase enzymes, and that an enzyme is targeted towards breaking up biofilm.
Kinase. Okay.
So,
all right, thank you.
Yeah, do the questionnaire and send it in to me, and I'll give you the list of all the recommendations and links to them. Make it real easy.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
who's
you
next?
so much.
Thank you. Keep coming back.
I was wondering, can you use the Claudia's Dream Cream like in place of the Earth Grade that I can never say that word. You know what I mean?
Diatomaceous earth?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Because it has it in it, right? Is that like a good, you know, instead of like the harsh like on your hair? Because
the Claudia's Dream Cream has no diatomaceous earth in it, but there's no reason why you couldn't add it.
Okay.
We put diatomaceous earth in our Super MSM gel, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So you can add diatomaceous earth to any cream or lotion.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Okay.
And I had another question, but I'm forgetting what it is. So
you don't have to add a lot. Say for 8 ounces of Claudia's Dream Cream, you might just put in 1 teaspoon and stir it up. You don't have to add a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just ordered a bunch of the little mini ones because I find that those are convenient. So I met another person here in Massachusetts that has this, is suffering with this. I think he might be on the call. I gave him the book and told him to get started with the program. I am suffering. I went to the cave with my family. I got off the diet, and I hadn't really had a kick in too good for me anyways. So I'm really starting to, surrender to having to really put this forth. But I did go to a Lyme specialist. I got 17 vials of blood drawn. It cost me $550. And yeah, it's really expensive. So I think I'm just gonna try the diet.
Yes, don't try it. Do it. Make it work.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about this diet. I mean, you can be in misery and inability to sleep and be awakened at 3 a.m., 2 a.m., and driven crazy to the point you got to get out of bed and take a scalding bath. You can be at that level, and once this diet kicks in, you sleep.
I did want to say I have been clinically diagnosed with Morgellons by a dermatologist and a Lyme specialist. So there is hope for people that are looking for
that's good that people are recognizing it. I don't think he gave you a DSM-3 or a DSM-4 diagnosis. He just basically said you have he didn't give you a clinical diagnosis. He just agreed that you have Morgellons.
They said, they said I do. They said clinically we can, I don't know if they wrote it down. They wrote it in the notes. They said clinically, this is presenting as what is known as Morgellons, and I'm meeting with, I have a Zoom with Ebony Cornish on July 5th. So, my doctors are really pushing for that to be my next protocol.
Well, it surely helps to have a doctor who sympathizes or knows that you're dealing with something that's real and not imaginary, as most of them say.
Validate.
Having a doctor agree and recognize Morgellons is great, but they still don't know what to do.
No, they don't know. They need answers. They need answers. They need help. They need research.
They need help. They need our book. They need my book is what they need.
I'm going to give it to my doctors.
So, and out there in parasite land, people write to me and say, well, I'm going to a naturopath, and he knows I have Morgellons, and he's treating me. Hey, unless the guy wrote a book about Morgellons, forget it. Do not mix my protocol with anybody's protocol. Mm-hmm. Now, if he calls me and says, what should I do? I'll be glad to share the diet. I'll be glad to share everything I know. But time and time again, they're going to do things like wormwood and like walnut hull, black walnut hull. Bang, you're done with. No benefit for you. You're wasting your money. Please do not mix, either do my stuff or do somebody else's, but don't mix them.
Yeah, I'm just more happy about the validation of having doctors actually starting to recognize that. I think it's really
that is wonderful. You see, Robin and I and Mary, we're addicted to success. And we know this program works. And we know if you mix it with somebody else's, the chances of it working is less, far less. Isn't it right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not that we want to control things. It's that we want you to control your environment and what you are doing. That's what we want.
Now, one last question, I promise. So part of the having the doctors and stuff on the team, now if I can get them to prescribe and get insurance to cover some of these medications that are out there that you guys suggest.
That's a very good point, because if you have a doctor that's sympathetic, then he will be glad to prescribe for you Abilify and maybe Doxepin. And those two medications help reduce dopamine uptake in the brain, which is what we want.
Right.
He might even go for Orap, Primazide. I don't know. But definitely Abilify and Doxepin are good medications to talk to him about, because I don't know of any human being possibly having and dealing with Morgellons to the point that you feel the itching and the biting and going crazy who is not depressed about it.
Right.
You can't have these organisms and not be depressed.
There is hope, though.
Unless you're coming to the tail end of my program in freedom, and depression kind of is a goner, Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm concerned about a parasite that had led to my having a 60% of the cornea in my left eye and 40% in the right eye damaged. It was after I had bathed and showered in borax. And I just started risperidone, and I want to switch to Abilify as soon as possible to try to get well enough to fly across country from the West Coast to the East Coast to my dad's funeral in 3 weeks. And I have a sense that I may have a really deep fungal infection where I get a razor blade-like cut look on my feet and hands and sometimes near my eyes. And I've read that antifungals are contraindicated with Abilify and risperidone, and I think the other medication that you mentioned. And I also heard something in the past about Lyme. I've been treating Lyme disease for 4.5 years. That there may be problems taking those medications with Lyme disease.
Well, as far as fungal medications, I'd have to refer. You're talking about things like what medications are you talking about?
Diclocan, itraconazole.
Yeah, right. Okay. That you have to discuss that with your doctor. I am not knowledgeable enough about that. But what we have in our store. First of all, are you doing the diet? Have you made it kick in?
I've been in a real panic, desperate mode where I fled a duplex where I developed these and brought some of them to a condo of my girlfriend's, and I've had difficulty. I've also got COVID 2 weeks ago, and then took a COVID medication that caused me to have to avoid all other medications. But I have had SIBO for 2 years, and I've primarily eaten a carnivore diet, basically just red meat, bison, hamburger, and quinoa for the being so protein focused, and try to avoid as much sugar, carbohydrates as possible. And I'm just kind of beginning to learn about the King diet.
Quinoa is not on stage 1 of the diet.
Yeah, quinoa has to go.
I was wanting to ask that. Thank you.
Yeah, quinoa has to go. But the other things you're consuming are fine. It would be good to put in some leafy vegetables, some, whether it be cucumber and things like that, radishes, onions, prebiotics like raw onions and what's the scallions? What are they called?
The small intestinal bacterial overgrowth that I developed, SIBO, garlic and onions are the two most kind of hardest foods on SIBO that are most advised to avoid.
Those are great.
I may have improved some in that regard, but my body had a revolting reaction to being near those two foods.
So you can't tolerate onions and so what but you have the diet, so you have to look at your condition and what's on the diet that you cannot have, and go accordingly. So so that's number one. Now, in terms of fungal, internal fungal and external fungal, any of our skin lotion would be great. You can use apple cider vinegar for external fungal as well. Our skin lotion, internal, we have 2 things that we recommend, 3 actually. Lufeneron, which is a medication that you get from a website, shop for the number 4, that is Morgellons.com. And it inhibits the growth of chitin, which is a building block of all fungal organisms. So that's where I would start. We have that inhibits future fungal organisms. It doesn't do anything with existing fungal organisms. Then in our store, we have the kinase enzymes, which assimilates, chews up, degrades existing fungal organisms, and also biofilm. And we also have another supplement called calcium Dayclex. Now, if you look at every fungal organism, there's what is called a fruiting body, and there is like a root structure, just like a plant, a root structure, but that's called hyphae. And so the calcium Dayclex inhibits the production of hyphae for any future organisms. So if you put those 3 together, that could be your answer. I'm not saying it will be, but that's where I would start in place of the medications. But this is not a treatment. This is simply education as to what these things do.
Lufeneron, kinase enzymes, calcium Dayclex.
Right. Now, the Lufeneron you get from our shop for Morgellons.com. It's a different site. The calcium Dayclex and the kinase enzymes you get from our store, the organicskincare.com. If you send me an email, I'll be glad to send you the links to them.
Thank you very, very much. And are those not contraindicated with many medications that I might take?
No. Lufeneron interacts with 0 medications. No medications does it interact with. Lufeneron has no side effects. The only thing that happens with Lufeneron is die-off, and that can be serious because if you've got a lot of fruiting bodies and a lot of fungal organisms that are trying to grow, they're going to be destroyed, basically cleaned out, and your body's got to get rid of them through your lymphatic system, and it could get clogged up. And so that's how you deal with that is you can get zeolite from Amazon, and that would help deal with detox reactions if they occur, or you stop taking whatever it is you're taking, you stop the Lufeneron for a couple of days until the detox passes.
Hey, are you familiar with Theobind by Dr. Klinghart's company?
From Dr.
I think I have a little bit of that.
Dr. Klinghardt, what is the substance?
I think it's a form of zeolite. It's called Theobind. I'm just not certain.
Well,
but I have a little bit left of that.
It could be. So you use that. If he uses it for detox, well then you could use his whatever it is. If it's compatible with a diet, it doesn't have any ingredients in it that are not on the list in the diet. That's what you need is ingredients.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I feel extreme brain pressure inflammation when I get lots of stings around my eyes, and I'm worried about the die-off risk. Just being ignorant about what I have going on with me. I'm sorry to go on for so long.
Is there a question there? I'm not sure what you're asking.
If you feel symptoms of brain inflammation, significant, in general, could there be more risk of die-off causing more serious harm, to your brain, to your nervous system?
What your brain? You're concerned about brain inflammation? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. Feeling symptoms.
That's out of my expertise. Inflammation is something you want to get rid of. And generally, that's where we use Max 1. Max 1 is a glutathione booster, and it decreases inflammation. Milk thistle, dark chocolate that we talked about in the early segment, all of these contribute to reducing inflammation. Anti-inflammatories. Cistus tea, we have Cistus tea in the store. Great anti-inflammatory. So that's the kind of way you want to deal with it. And you want to get rid of fluoride toothpaste.
I have a Cistus tea, 2-ounce extract that I'll start using since you mentioned that.
Just read the ingredients and make sure there's nothing in there but Cistus tea. There are a lot of teas that you can buy in tea stores, specialty shops, and so forth that are absolutely no good because they put other ingredients in there. I don't know why. So this is why we do have some teas. We got about 7 teas in our store. They're nothing but 100% tea, no additives. So make sure whatever tea you have has no additives that are a problem with the diet. Diglycerides. Why would they do that in tea? I don't know. Okay, so 3 weeks, I don't know if you'll be able to get all this that you need, but definitely you want to get on that diet as quickly as possible. Yes, Karan.
I want to say one thing about the onions and the garlic. Those are prebiotics, and some people have a hard time digesting them at first. So you can try smaller quantities, and if you cook them, they're easier to digest than if you eat them raw. But they're really helpful, and it's not uncommon to have reactions to them if you're not used to prebiotics. But if you
might try very small quantities, but it's definitely preferable to have raw rather than cooked as a prebiotic. Yeah.
Right. But small quantities.
Right, small quantities. So that's, some tips here. Hope you made some notes. If not,
I did. Thank you very much.
Be available. Okay.
Thank you very, very much.
Sadly, my residence has now become infested with bird mites. I thought my previous issues were a problem. I pray no one endures this. I told my landlord in February he had another tenant place some vents on one side, which one is fallen. I'm trying to have the place federally and state investigated.
Well, this is about a landlord who put in some ventilation, and apparently there are birds that were outside or near the vent that are infected, and the bird mites have gotten into the apartment. And you'd have to read the lease, for instance, but I don't think, I think this falls under the provision of things that, like tornadoes and that are God-related. No, I don't think that we getting federally or local or anything about a ventilation and bird mites is going to go anywhere. Plus, I would suspect that maybe bird mites basically, they're more like bed bugs. They don't fly, they crawl, and they seek a blood source. So they're generally pretty easy to get rid of because they're not flying, and they're not going to go to your television or under your rugs or things like. They're looking for food. So generally they're going to be pretty easy to find, and they're tiny, tiny little black things that move. They're almost microscopic, but you can see them. So that it may be a misdiagnosis in terms of bird mites, maybe something else. I don't know. If you have mites that I sent the lady our booklet, which is free, Win the War of the Mite. Robin and I put that together a year or so ago, and it goes into everything that you can possibly do. It's free. Anybody who wants it, let me know, or you can go to Amazon and pay $6.95 for it. It's up to you. So anyway, what's the next question?
The next question was in response to the video on Morgellons being contagious. And this is from Amanda, and she says, "It is definitely contagious. I was pregnant when I got it, and while nursing, I literally saw what I thought was a bent hair straighten and go into the skin. I also was at the ER with small rashes all over my body within a few days, itching like I've never itched before. I did find some sort of bugs after drying bedding, etc., but I moved a ton, including across the country twice, and had all sorts of symptoms. And both of my kids get bumps and rashes that I address. I had another child 4 years ago, and yes, he gets them too. I've had other people mention being bit or itching. Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people can mentally handle believing it's contagious. Thanks for the info. I'll be participating more when I am able. Do you have any thoughts on the Morgellons treatment on Amazon? It's potassium iodide mixed up and dropped each day, plus a healthy diet and addressing skin issues. Curious for your thoughts."
Okay, there's two sections to this. One, she's referring to a video that we did a few weeks ago about is Morgellons contagious, and she's agreeing and sharing her experience, and even points out, as other people have told me, that these filaments can actually go back into your skin. I mean, are we to call her a liar? I've gotten this report from many people, not just one, not just her, that the filaments can actually go back into your skin or into the skin of somebody else. So, that's amazing. I mean, I've gotten reports from people that say these organisms can eat countertops. And I thought for a long time that they're the kind of, maybe it does affect people's imaginations, and some people, it makes them paranoid, and maybe it's a mental thing. And then I learned that there are organisms that actually emit enzymes that are capable of eating solids, on eating through solids. So, and then there's actually a website that says Morgellons is an organism that can eat concrete. I mean, well, we did a video a few weeks ago about the cofactors, and which kind of explains all these different phenomena, because not everybody has the same cofactors or the same organisms that are connected or associated with Morgellons. So the question about supersaturated potassium iodide, you can go to, we have it in the online store. supersaturated potassium iodide. And there are, again, people who have, I believe, on YouTube claim that Morgellons is, it's spiritosis, or, well, it's Rose Gardner's disease, and I think the clinical name is spiritosis or something like that, you know. Yes, okay, that's a cofactor. And there's actually an update in our blog that was posted a couple of years ago where a lady reported she fell into the rose bush and got Morgellons and all this stuff going on with her. So it's called Rose Gardner's disease. That's one of the cofactors. And when we talk about Morgellons, I compared it to like a chessboard. The king, Morgellons, he's the most important piece on the chessboard, but not the most powerful. All right? So we have the queen, we have the bishops, we have the rook, we have the pawns, and I think there's one other piece. I'm not a chess person. But these are the cofactors, and some of them are pretty powerful. I put out an update, I think last Sunday or the Sunday before, of a lady who's got this cofactor. You can see it eating away her flesh on her face. I have no idea what it is, and nobody knows how to treat it. And she's gone to doctor after doctor in New York City, hospitals, and has been diagnosed as being delusional. Go back and look at that picture and see how anybody could diagnose something eating away her face as delusional. Rose Gardner's disease is a cofactor, and supersaturated potassium iodide has been found, not my claim, but has been found by others to be effective in dealing with it. So that's why we have it in the store, and that's the answer to that question. Okay, that wraps up this segment. Anything you'd like to add, Robin, before we close?
I just want to say again, mixing protocols doesn't work.
True.
And so whatever protocol you find on Amazon or Facebook or any other group, you have to make a choice. I think ours is the best, obviously, but you can't mix protocols.
Don't mix protocols. Mary, anything you'd like to add?
No, I just think this was a really good informational session.
Thank you. And, you know, there is another protocol that uses chlorine dioxide. Do you know what that is, Robin? Chlorine dioxide? Have you heard of MMS, Miracle Mineral Supplement, developed by Herbal? It's a great disinfectant. You can use it in your bath. You can use it in your laundry. But consuming it is very controversial. I just read an article about all the damage you can do. It's like, in a sense, consuming bleach. Maybe Trump was referring to that when he was talking about curing COVID with bleach. I don't know. But it's not good to consume. I had tried it, and after you build up the drops, and my mother had tried it. This is years and years ago when I first learned of it, and the stomach problems was incredible. It just wrecked our stomachs. So I don't recommend consuming MMS ever. Okay.
I'd like to say about that, Richard. For those out there that have brain fog and people like me that have issues with numbers and letters, MMS is not the same as MSM.
No, thank you for pointing that out. Yes, please don't get them mixed up. Miracle Mineral Supplement, MMS, by James Herbal, chlorine dioxide, good for your laundry to disinfect, good for your bath to disinfect, but no good to consume. MSM, methylene sulfide, is organic sulfur. Organic sulfur is very good because what happens is Morgellons depletes your skin and your body of organic sulfur. Every cell of your body has organic sulfur. Take away all the sulfur and you die, okay? So it depletes it. Your skin has got organic sulfur. So in our store, we have MSM capsules that you can consume to replenish organic sulfur internally. And we have Super MSM gel and regular MSM gel that you can apply to your skin. And it is phenomenal. I mean, if you have an itch somewhere and it seems like it doesn't want to go, you put that Super MSM gel on there, which also has diatomaceous earth in it, and some, I don't know if it's got cinnamon in it or not. But, well, anyway, it's super. That's why we call it Super MSM gel. So it replenishes the sulfur in your skin. And you can apply it every minute if you want. Every minute. Be very aggressive. Thank you, Mary.
I use the MSM pills, and they're great. They help with my joints because I have so many problems with my joints not working right, and it helps reduce the pain.
Yes, it is. Super. Thank you for sharing that as well. Okay, that concludes this segment.